The humid air of Seattle began to stir that morning, bringing with it the faint scent of possibility, as if the very city knew this would be the most pivotal day in the life of Olivia Sterling. Inside the sleek, glass-encased skyscraper of Sterling Tech, a multi-billion-dollar deal lay waiting for her signature. Yet a soft, urgent whisper cut through the pristine silence of her office. "Don't sign that deal." Olivia Rosales looked up from the $3 billion contract. The man who had spoken was Noah Evans, the night security guard. She'd never paid attention to his last name. He held his mop with calloused hands, gazing at her with an intensity that startled her. "I beg your pardon?" she asked, lowering the golden pen poised to sign her name. Noah took a step closer, glancing towards the boardroom door. His dark eyes held an urgency that didn't match his gray uniform. "Global Dynamics Holdings, Ms. Sterling. I know things about them, things you should know before you sign." Olivia felt a chill. Here she was, at 32, on the verge of becoming one of the wealthiest women in the tech world, heir to the AI and software empire her father had built from the ground up in Austin. And a security guard was telling her not to sign. "What kind of things?" she whispered, not knowing why she lowered her voice. "They destroyed my family's software business in Portland 5 years ago. They promised partnership, but they ended up stealing everything. My father died of a broken heart 6 months later." Before Olivia could respond, the door burst open. Julian Reed entered with his perfect smile and designer suit, followed by the New York executives from Global Dynamics Holdings. "Olivia, my dear," Julian exclaimed, her 45-year-old business partner. "What are you waiting for? The gentlemen have a flight to catch to New York in 2 hours." Noah stepped aside, becoming invisible again as always. But Olivia couldn't take her eyes off him. There was something in his face, in the way his lips were pressed tightly, that told her he was speaking the truth. "Just reviewing the numbers one last time," she said, trying to sound casual. "Oh, Olivia, always such a perfectionist." Julian chuckled, but his laugh sounded forced. "We've reviewed everything 1,000 times. This deal is going to make history." The leader of the New York delegation, an older man with a gray mustache, approached the table. "Ms. Sterling, we understand your caution, but opportunities like this don't come every day. $3 billion is a serious amount." Of course. Olivia looked to where Noah had been, but he was gone. "Just give me 5 more minutes." 5 minutes, Julian agreed, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. "The gentleman will grab a coffee in the meantime." When they left the room, Olivia was left alone with the contract. The words blurred on the paper. Why would a security guard risk losing his job to warn her about something like this? And why did Julian seem so nervous? She stood up and walked to the window overlooking Seattle. The city lights stretched out to the mountains, reminding her of everything her father had built. Sterling Tech had started with him and 2 developers in 1995. Now it employed thousands. Her phone vibrated. A text message from an unknown number. "Maintenance office. Basement. I have proof. N." Olivia looked at the door. Julian could return at any moment, but something inside her told her to go down to that basement. Perhaps it was the same intuition that had helped her father build his empire. She tucked the contract into her purse and left the boardroom. In the elevator, she pressed the basement button for the first time in the 3 years she'd worked in the Sterling Tower. The basement smelled of cleaning products and concrete. She found the maintenance office at the end of a dimly lit corridor. The door was open. Noah was sitting at a small table, surrounded by papers and newspaper clippings. He had changed his security uniform for jeans and a white shirt. He looked completely different. "Thanks for coming," he said. Without looking up, "I thought you wouldn't." "Who are you, really?" Olivia asked, closing the door behind her. Noah looked up. In his eyes was a profound sadness she hadn't noticed before. "I'm Noah Vargas. 5 years ago, my family had a software development studio in Portland. We were small, but honest. Global Dynamics Holdings came with promises to expand our business." He showed her an old photograph of a studio filled with computers and whiteboards. "My father, Esteban Vargas, was the best coder in the region. Global Dynamics Holdings said they wanted to partner with us, that they would help us grow. What happened? He signed a contract he didn't fully understand. In 6 months, they had taken all our designs, our clients, our proprietary code. They sued us for breach of contract and shut down the studio." Noah handed her a folder full of legal documents. "My father couldn't bear to see all his work vanish. He died of a heart attack last year." Olivia opened the folder. The documents showed a clear pattern. Global Dynamics Holdings had used the same strategy with dozens of small family businesses across the US and Canada. "Why are you here?" she asked. "Why do you work as a security guard?" "Because I needed to be close to Julian Reed." Her partner's name dropped like a bomb in the basement's silence. "Julian? What does Julian have to do with this?" Noah showed her a telephoto photograph. Julian was sitting in an elegant restaurant with the same New York executives who had been in the boardroom. "This photo is from 3 months ago, long before you knew anything about this deal. Julian has been planning this for months, but it's not just the deal you know about. There's a second contract, one you haven't seen." "What second contract?" "One where Julian gets 60% of Sterling Tech, and you end up as an employee of your own company." Buried truths. Olivia let the documents fall onto Noah's table. Her hands trembled as she tried to process what she had just discovered. "It can't be true. Julian and I have been partners for 8 years. He knew my father. That's why he's the perfect partner for this scam," Noah said, organizing the papers carefully. "He has your complete trust." Olivia sat on the only available chair, a plastic one that creaked under her weight. The contrast between this basement and her office on the 20th floor couldn't be starker. "How long have you known all this?" "I've been investigating Global Dynamics Holdings for 3 years, first as a victim, trying to understand what happened to my family. Then I realized we were just one of many cases." Noah opened a different folder. Inside were photos of families, legal documents, newspaper clippings. The Millers from Austin, Texas, had a craft brewery that had been in the family for 4 generations. The Changs from Vancouver, Canada, sustainable farming tech. The Patels from San Francisco, California, with their biotech startups. "All destroyed by Global Dynamics Holdings," Olivia murmured. "With the help of local partners who knew the businesses from the inside. Julian isn't the only one. They have contacts in every country they operate in." Olivia studied Noah's face. He was 30, she calculated, which meant he was 30 when his family's business was destroyed. 5 years seeking justice. "What did you do before this?" "I studied industrial engineering at the University of Portland. I worked part-time in my father's studio to pay for university. When we lost everything, I had to drop out." "And how did you end up here, in Seattle?" Noah stood up and walked to a small window overlooking the underground parking garage. "I sold everything I had left to get money for the trip. I knew Julian worked here, that he was the key to understanding how the whole operation worked. You've been working as a security guard for 3 years just to investigate Julian?" "The first 6 months were just about surviving, getting the job, learning the routine, becoming invisible. Then I started noticing things." Noah returned to the table and pulled out a notebook full of handwritten notes. "Julian receives calls from New York numbers every Friday at 9 at night. He always uses the office phone, never his cell. He prints documents he doesn't file in the main system." "How do you know all that?" "Because you cleaned his office every night. People don't notice security guards. They talk as if we're furniture." Olivia realized she had been doing exactly that. In 3 years, she had never spoken to Noah until tonight. "Why are you telling me this? Why didn't you go to the police?" Because I need solid proof, and because, Noah paused, because you don't deserve what they're going to do to you. Their eyes met for a moment. Olivia felt something she hadn't felt in years. Someone was protecting her without wanting anything in return. What can I do? They're already waiting for me to sign the contract. We need more time. I have contacts in New York who can help, but I need at least a week to get definitive proof. What kind of contacts? Noah hesitated before answering. Other entrepreneurs who were scammed. Some have hired private investigators. One of them is a lawyer and has been building a case against Global Dynamics Holdings for 2 years. Olivia stood up and started pacing the small space. Her designer skirt and high heels felt ridiculous in that environment. Julian will suspect if I ask for more time. He's already nervous. Then let's give him a reason he can't argue with. Problems with the bank, the board of directors, something beyond his control. The board of directors. Olivia stopped. I can call an emergency meeting. Say I need full approval before signing something so big. When's the next meeting? I can call one for Friday. That gives us 5 days. Noah nodded, but his expression remained serious. 5 days to get proof that will destroy a company that has been operating for decades. It won't be easy. What do you need from me? Access to Julian's files, copies of all documents related to Global Dynamics Holdings. And, Noah looked down at the floor. I need you to trust me, even if you have no reason to. Olivia studied him. This man had left his life in Portland. He had worked as a security guard for 3 years. He had risked his job to warn her about Julian, all to avenge his family and protect other families like hers. Do you know what my father told me before he died? What? That money doesn't make people good or bad. It just makes them more of what they already were. Noah smiled for the first time since he had started speaking. Your father was a wise man. He was. And he taught me to recognize good people when I see them. Olivia extended her hand. Let's destroy these bastards, Noah Vargas. He took her hand. His calloused fingers contrasted with hers, soft and manicured. But the grip was firm and determined. Let's do it, Olivia Sterling. For the first time in years, Olivia felt she wasn't alone in the business world. She had an ally. Someone who understood what it meant to lose everything and fight to get it back. Where do we start? With Julian's files. Tonight, when his security round ends, I'll need your help getting into his office. Olivia nodded. In 24 hours, she had gone from being a successful CEO, about to sign the deal of her life, to becoming a spy in her own company. But for the first time in a long time, she felt completely awake. The wound of deceit 3 weeks after their first encounter in the basement, Olivia had developed a routine she never thought she'd have. Arriving at the office early, working normally during the day, and staying late to investigate with Noah. Tonight, sitting on the floor of Julian's office with a laptop connected to his main computer, she realized she had learned more about her own business in these weeks than in the last 2 years. Look at this. Noah pointed to the screen. Julian has been moving money to accounts in the Cayman Islands since January. How much money? $2 million so far. Small amounts every 2 weeks to avoid suspicion. Olivia saved the files to a USB drive. They had established a system. She would gain access to digital documents. Noah would photograph physical papers, and both would analyze the information together. Did you talk to your contact in New York? Yes. Ethan Vance, the lawyer I mentioned. His family lost a restaurant chain 3 years ago. He's been investigating Global Dynamics Holdings ever since. Noah showed her his phone. On the screen was a WhatsApp message with dozens of attached documents. He found something interesting. Global Dynamics Holdings isn't really a U.S. company. It's registered in Delaware, but operates through subsidiaries in every North American country. That would explain why it's so hard to sue them. Olivia finished copying the files. Every time someone tries to take legal action, they can claim the responsibility belongs to another subsidiary. Exactly. And there's something else. Noah opened a folder on the computer. Inside were organizational charts and corporate structures that looked like a labyrinth. Julian isn't just a local partner. He's an employee of Global Dynamics Holdings. He's been on their payroll for 5 years, long before he started working with you. Olivia felt as if she had been punched in the stomach. 5 years. That means he's been preparing you for this scam from the beginning. They fell silent for a moment. Olivia thought about all the business decisions she had made with Julian's advice, all the contracts she had signed, all the times she had trusted him completely. How many other local partners do they have? According to Ethan, at least 15 across North America. All with the same profile, respected professionals, with access to successful family businesses. Noah closed the laptop and began to organize the physical documents. We need more evidence before the board meeting on Friday. Photos, recordings, something they can't deny. What kind of recordings? Julian talks to his contacts in New York every Friday. Tomorrow is Friday. Olivia looked at him with a mixture of admiration and concern. You want us to record his phone calls? I have a device that can connect to the phone line. It's legal because it's your own company. Where did you get something like that? Noah hesitated before answering. Ethan helped me. He has more resources than I initially thought. What do you mean? Not all the scammed entrepreneurs were left penniless. Some had enough resources to hire professional investigators, tech experts, specialized lawyers. Olivia realized she had been underestimating the magnitude of the operation, both of Global Dynamics Holdings and of the people investigating them. Are you saying there's an entire network of people working on this? Yes, and not just victims. There are authorities involved too, financial investigation agents, anti-corruption prosecutors, even some politicians who have been pressured by their constituents. Why didn't you tell me this before? Because I didn't want to scare you, and because I needed to be sure you were committed before getting you involved in something so big. Olivia stood up from the floor and walked to Julian's window. From there, she could see the lights of Seattle, the city where she had built her life and her company. My father always said that success comes with responsibility. I never thought that meant becoming a detective. You don't have to do this. Noah also stood up. You can cancel the deal, look for other partners, protect your company in a simpler way, and let Julian do this to someone else. Let Global Dynamics Holdings destroy more families like yours. It's not your responsibility to save everyone. Olivia turned to him. In the past few weeks, she had come to know not only the determined investigator, but also the man who had lost everything and had dedicated years of his life to seeking justice. Do you know what bothers me most about all this? That Julian thought I was stupid enough not to notice. That he believed he could manipulate me because I'm a woman, because I inherited the company instead of building it from scratch. Your father built more than a company. He built a daughter who isn't easily deceived. Olivia felt a warmth in her chest she hadn't felt in a long time. Noah had a way of seeing the best in people, even after having been betrayed so brutally. How do you do that? What? Maintain faith in people after what happened to you. Noah took a step closer. They were close enough for her to see the small wrinkles around his eyes, the marks of someone who had smiled a lot before life became difficult. Because I knew my father. Because I know Ethan and the other families who are fighting. Because I know you. You've known me for 3 weeks. I've been observing you for 3 years, Olivia. I've seen you work late, worry about your employees, make difficult decisions. I knew you were different before I even spoke to you. Olivia felt something shift in the air between them. It was no longer just an alliance to solve a problem. It was something more personal, deeper. Noah, I know this is complicated. I know it comes at the worst possible time. But I need you to know that what I feel for you has nothing to do with Julian or Global Dynamics Holdings. Before he could respond, they heard footsteps in the hallway. Noah immediately turned off the computer, and both hid behind Julian's desk. The steps stopped in front of the office door. Olivia held her breath, aware that she was inches from Noah, that she could feel the warmth of his body and the rhythm of his breathing. After what seemed like hours, the steps continued down the hallway. "The security guard," Noah whispered. "He does his rounds every hour." "How do you know that?" "Because I've been working here for 3 years." They stayed crouched behind the desk, waiting to be sure it was safe to come out. In the silence, Olivia realized that her life had completely changed in less than a month. 3 weeks ago, her biggest concerns were profit margins and board meetings. Now she was hidden in an office at midnight, investigating an international conspiracy, working with a man who had entered her life as a security guard and had become something much more important. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" Noah asked softly. "To record Julian?" "For everything. Once we start recording, there's no turning back. They'll know we're investigating." Olivia thought of her father, of the company he had built, of all the families who depended on the jobs she provided. She thought of Noah and his destroyed family, of Ethan and all the others who had lost everything. "I'm ready." Divided hearts. Friday morning, Olivia woke to the sound of rain against her apartment windows. She had slept barely 3 hours, but her mind was wide awake. Today, they would record Julian's conversation with his contacts in New York. She arrived at the office early, as always, but this time she carried a small recording device Noah had given her the night before. Her hands trembled slightly as she connected it to Julian's phone system. "Good morning, Olivia." Julian's voice startled her from the doorway. "You're in early." "Always am," she replied, trying to sound casual as she closed the phone connection box. "What are you doing here so early?" "I have an important call with New York in an hour. Wanted to review some documents beforehand." Olivia felt her heart race. The call was earlier than expected. "About the deal?" "Yes, some final details. Nothing to worry about." Julian headed to his office, and Olivia returned to hers. She immediately sent Noah a message. "Call in an hour, not 9 p.m. as we thought." The reply came in seconds. "Is the device working?" Olivia discreetly checked. A small green light confirmed it was recording. "Yes, where are you?" "On the 15th floor, cleaning offices. I can be there in 10 minutes if you need me." During the next hour, Olivia tried to work normally, but every sound from Julian's phone made her jump. Finally, she heard his voice speaking in a clear American accent. She approached the wall she shared with Julian's office. Through the thin wall, she could hear fragments of the conversation. "Yes, she'll sign on Monday." "No, she suspects nothing." 50%, as agreed. Olivia felt nauseous. After 8 years of partnership, Julian spoke of her as if she were just another mark on a list. "We need to move fast after the signing. Yes, I understand there are other targets in Brazil." The conversation continued for 40 minutes. Olivia took notes of everything she could hear, hoping the recording had captured what she couldn't clearly discern. When Julian ended the call, Olivia quickly returned to her desk. A few minutes later, he appeared at her door. "Ready for the big day on Monday?" "I think so, though I'm still nervous about the board meeting this afternoon." "Don't worry, they're just formalities. Everyone knows this deal is good for the company." After Julian left, Olivia retrieved the recording device. She had to get it to Noah to hear what they had captured. She found him in the basement, waiting with an anxious expression. "How was it?" "Listen for yourself." They connected the device to a small speaker. Julian's voice sounded clear and undistorted. "Perfect, Victor. She'll sign on Monday without problems. After the initial transfer, we can move 50% of the assets to our Cayman accounts." "Are you sure she doesn't suspect?" "Completely. Olivia is sharp in business but naive about these things. She trusts me completely." "Excellent. When can you deliver the documentation for the construction company in Brazil?" "Give me 2 months to identify the right target. I'm thinking about Sao Paulo. There are several family businesses that fit our profile." Olivia stopped the recording. She couldn't listen anymore. "There's more," Noah said softly. They mentioned specific names, amounts of money, dates. How many more companies are they going to destroy? Based on what I heard, they have targets in Brazil, Argentina, Janitor, Chile, Vietnam, and Peru. This isn't just about your company, Olivia. It's a continental operation. Olivia sat on the basement floor and covered her face with her hands. Everything was much bigger than she had imagined. What do we do now? Now we have solid proof. We can go to the authorities, contact the media, alert the companies on their list. And my company? What about Sterling Tech? Your company will be fine. You have the evidence to cancel the deal and expose Julian. Olivia looked up. Noah was kneeling in front of her, a genuine look of concern on his face. Are you okay? I don't know. I feel like I've been living a lie for years. It's not your fault to trust people. It's what makes you a good leader. A good leader? I was about to hand over my company to con artists. But you didn't. You listened to your gut. You investigated. You fought. That's what good leaders do. Noah sat on the floor next to her. For the first time since they met, there were no documents or computers between them. There's something else I need to tell you, Noah said, looking at his hands. Something about my true identity. Olivia felt her blood run cold. What do you mean? I'm not just a victim of Global Dynamics Holdings. I'm a certified financial investigator. I worked for the National Banking Commission of the U.S. before they destroyed my family's business. What? After what happened, I left my government job and dedicated myself to investigating this case independently. But I have professional training, contacts in various investigative agencies, access to resources a normal coder wouldn't have. Olivia stood up abruptly. Have you been lying to me for a month? I didn't lie to you about what was important. My family was destroyed. My father did die. My pain is real. But I have more tools to fight them than I told you. I thought if you knew I was a professional investigator, you wouldn't trust me. You'd think I had a hidden agenda. And you don't? Noah stood too, trying to approach her. My only agenda is to stop Global Dynamics Holdings and protect you. Protect me. Or use my company as evidence for your investigation. Olivia, please, no. I can't do this now. Olivia walked towards the door, but Noah stopped her. What are you going to do? I'm going to cancel the deal. I'm going to fire Julian. I'm going to protect my company. And us? Olivia stopped without turning around. I don't know if there's an us, Noah. I don't know who you really are. I'm the man who fell in love with you while trying to save you. How can I know what's real and what's part of your investigation? Because I'm telling you the truth now, when I don't have to. Because I'm risking everything to be honest with you. Olivia finally turned around. Noah was standing in the middle of the small basement, his shoulders slumped, and an expression of desperation on his face. I need time to think. How much time? I don't know, but right now I have to focus on saving my company. Afterward, we'll see. Olivia left the basement and headed for the elevator. In 3 hours, she would have to face the board of directors, Julian, and the executives of Global Dynamics Holdings. But first, she had to decide if she could trust the man who had become the most important part of her life. Just when she was discovering he wasn't who she thought he was. The price of truth. The board meeting was scheduled for 3 in the afternoon. Olivia arrived at the boardroom 15 minutes early, carrying a folder with the recordings and documents she had collected with Noah. The 5 board members were already seated around the mahogany table. Mr. Arthur Davies, her father's old partner. Ms. Evelyn Black, the financial director. Dr. Benjamin Clark, representative of the minority investors. Ms. Grace Kelly, the corporate lawyer, and Julian, who arrived exactly on time with his confident smile. Good afternoon, everyone, Olivia began, trying to keep her voice firm. I've called this meeting because I have important information about the deal with Global Dynamics Holdings that I must share before proceeding. Julian straightened in his chair. Olivia, I thought we had agreed this was just a formality. Things have changed, Julian. Olivia connected her laptop to the projector, and the first image that appeared was the corporate organizational chart of Global Dynamics Holdings. Over the past 4 weeks, I've been investigating our supposed partners. What I discovered will surprise you. Mr. Davies adjusted his glasses. What kind of investigation, Olivia? Global Dynamics Holdings is not what it appears to be. It's an organization that specializes in acquiring family businesses across North America through deception and manipulation. Olivia showed the documents of the other companies that had been scammed. Photos of families, fraudulent contracts, testimonies from victims. The Millers from Austin, Texas, the Changs from Vancouver, Canada, the Patels from San Francisco, California. Dozens of families who lost everything after signing contracts with Global Dynamics Holdings. Ms. Black frowned. Where did you get this information? From the victims themselves, and from this. Olivia played the recording of Julian's phone conversation. His voice filled the boardroom, clear and incriminating. She'll sign on Monday without problems. After the initial transfer, we can move 50% of the assets to our Cayman accounts. The silence in the room was deafening. Julian had turned completely pale. When did you record this? He asked. His voice trembling. This morning, during your call with Victor Stone of Global Dynamics Holdings. Julian abruptly stood up. This is illegal. You can't record private conversations. I can record conversations that occur on equipment owned by my own company, replied Ms. Kelly, the lawyer. It's completely legal. Mr. Davies slowly took off his glasses and cleaned them. Julian, is it true that you've been receiving payments from Global Dynamics Holdings? This is taken out of context. Yes or no, Julian? Yes, but it's not what it seems. How long have you been working for them? Ms. Black asked. Julian looked around the table, searching for a friendly face. He found none. 5 years. 5 years, Olivia repeated. Our entire partnership has been a lie. No, my work with you has been real. The company has grown. We've been successful while you prepared us for the final scam. Dr. Clark, who had remained silent, finally spoke. How much money have you moved to offshore accounts? That doesn't matter now. It matters a great deal, Ms. Kelly said. We're talking about corporate embezzlement. Julian slumped into his chair. $2 million so far, but I was going to return it after the deal. With what money? Olivia asked. If the plan was to keep 50% of the company, the meeting continued for 2 more hours. Julian confessed the details of the operation, the names of other partners in North America, the bank accounts where he had moved company money. In the end, the board of directors voted unanimously to cancel the deal with Global Dynamics Holdings, fire Julian, and turn over all evidence to the authorities. When Julian left the building, escorted by security, Olivia was left alone in the boardroom. She had saved her company, but she felt empty. Her phone vibrated. A message from Noah. How was the meeting? Olivia stared at the message for several minutes before replying. We canceled the deal. Julian was fired. Are you okay? I don't know. Can we talk? Olivia sighed. She knew they would have to talk eventually, but she wasn't sure she was ready. Underground parking in 10 minutes. When she arrived at the parking lot, Noah was waiting by her car. He was no longer wearing his security uniform. He had on a simple, well-tailored suit that gave him a completely different appearance. It's over, Olivia said without preamble. Julian confessed everything. They're going to arrest him tomorrow. How do you feel? Betrayed, confused, angry, with me? Olivia leaned against her car. I don't know. Part of me understands why you didn't tell me the truth about your job, but another part feels like everything we experienced together was calculated. Nothing I felt for you was calculated, Olivia. How can I be sure? Noah took a step closer. Because I resigned from my job this morning. What? I called my supervisor at the National Banking Commission and submitted my resignation. I told him I could no longer maintain the professional objectivity necessary for the investigation. Why did you do that? Because I fell in love with you, and because I want you to know that if there's anything between us, it will be real, not part of any job or investigation. Olivia felt her defenses begin to crumble. Noah, I know you need time. I know this is confusing and complicated, but I want you to know that everything I told you about my feelings was true. And now what? What are you going to do without your job? Ethan Vance offered me a job at his law firm in New York. He specializes in helping victims of corporate fraud. It's an opportunity to continue fighting against people like Global Dynamics Holdings, but from the legal side. Are you going back to New York? Depends on what? On whether there's something here worth staying for. Olivia looked down at the parking lot floor. The last 4 weeks had been the most intense of her life. She had uncovered a conspiracy, saved her company, and fallen in love with the most improbable man. I need time to process all this. How much time? I don't know. Maybe we could start over. Get to know each other really this time, without secrets or investigations in between. Noah smiled for the first time in days. I'd like that. But slowly. No pressure. Of course. And Noah? Yes. Thank you. For warning me, for helping me, for risking everything to protect my company. Thank you for trusting me, even when you had no reason to. Olivia got into her car, but before driving off, she rolled down the window. Noah? Yes. My full name is Olivia Sterling. I'm 32 years old. I studied business administration at MIT, and my favorite food is my grandmother's short-rib tacos. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. Noah laughed. My full name is Noah Evans. I'm 35 years old. I studied industrial engineering, and my favorite drink is the cold brew my father used to make in Portland. It's a pleasure to meet you too, Olivia. As she drove out of the parking lot, Olivia felt something she hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. She didn't know what would happen between her and Noah, but for the first time, they had the opportunity to discover it, without lies in between. New beginning 6 months after Julian's arrest, Olivia was in her renovated office reviewing the contracts for 3 new construction projects. It had been a period of reconstruction for both her company and her personal life. Noah knocked on the door and entered with 2 cups of Portland cold brew. He was no longer the night security guard or the undercover investigator. Now he was Noah Evans, business ethics consultant, and her partner in both business and life. How are the negotiations with the Austin tech firm going? He asked, sitting in the chair opposite her desk. Well, they're signing the collaboration agreement next week. Olivia took a sip of coffee. It's incredible how everything has changed since we implemented the new transparency protocols. Honest companies recognize other honest companies. Over the past few months, Sterling Tech had become a model of corporate transparency across the West Coast. Olivia had implemented monthly independent audits, public reports of all major transactions, and an anonymous reporting system for employees. How's the legal case against Global Dynamics Holdings coming along? Ethan called this morning. They're prosecuting 17 executives in 5 countries. Julian's testimony has been key to the investigation. Noah had maintained contact with Ethan Vance and the other victims of Global Dynamics Holdings. His work now consisted of helping family businesses protect themselves against this type of fraud. And the other families? The Millers of Austin, Texas reopened their brewery last month. The Changs recovered part of their sustainable farms. Not everything, but it's a start. Olivia smiled. Seeing Noah work to help rebuild the lives that Global Dynamics Holdings had destroyed had confirmed what she had suspected all along. He was a genuinely good man. Are you still thinking about Ethan's proposal? About opening an office for his firm here in Seattle? Yes. Noah stood up and walked to the window overlooking the city. I like the idea. I could help American businesses and at the same time be close to you. Just close? Noah turned with a mischievous smile. Well, depending on what a certain very important businesswoman answers to a very important question. Olivia felt her heart quicken. They had been officially dating for 3 months, taking their time to truly get to know each other. They had gone to dinner, to the movies, to meet each other's families. Everything had been perfect, natural, without the complications of secrets or investigations. What kind of question? Noah returned to her desk and knelt in front of her. He pulled a small blue velvet box from his pocket. Olivia Sterling, will you marry an ex-security guard, ex-investigator, current consultant who is madly in love with you? Olivia looked at the ring. It was simple but elegant, with a small but perfect diamond. Exactly what she would have chosen. When did you buy this? 2 weeks ago. I've been waiting for the perfect moment. And this is the perfect moment? In my office, on a Tuesday afternoon? The perfect moment is when I'm with you, no matter where it is. Olivia rose from her chair and also knelt in front of him. Yes, Noah Evans, I will marry you. Noah put the ring on her finger and kissed her. It was a kiss different from all they had shared before. It was a kiss full of promises, of future, of certainty. Do you know what this means? Olivia asked when they separated. What? That we're going to have to change the entire corporate structure of the company. A spouse as a business partner requires special documentation. Noah laughed. Only you would think about paperwork at a moment like this. It's one of the reasons I love you. One of many. They stayed embraced on the office floor, surrounded by contracts and legal documents, but feeling that they were in the most romantic place in the world. Where do you want the wedding to be? Noah asked. How about Portland? We could get married near where your father had his studio. Noah looked at her in surprise. You'd do that? Your family is part of your story, and now it's going to be part of mine too. And then we can go to Austin, so you can see where my father grew up. A very sentimental honeymoon. The best kind of honeymoon. That night, they celebrated their engagement at the restaurant, where they had had their first real date. It was a small, cozy place in downtown, very different from the elegant restaurants where Olivia used to eat with clients. Did you ever think we'd end up like this? Olivia asked, as they toasted with red wine. Engaged? In love? Noah considered the question seriously. There was a moment, the second week we were investigating together, when you fell asleep over Julian's documents. You looked so peaceful, so different from the intimidating CEO everyone saw during the day. And I thought I'd like to see you like that more often. Relaxed, unguarded, trusting me enough to be vulnerable. When did you know you were in love with me? Noah asked. When you resigned from your job. When you realized you could no longer be objective about the investigation because I was more important. Not before. Before, I was attracted to you, but I was afraid it was just the adrenaline of the whole situation. When you resigned, I knew your feelings were real. And now I know you're the most integrity-driven man I've ever met. Someone who lost everything, and instead of becoming bitter, decided to dedicate his life to protecting others from going through the same thing. And you are the bravest woman I have ever met. Someone who could have taken the easy way out, but chose to fight for what was right. We're a good team, the best team. As they walked back to Olivia's apartment, she thought about all that had changed in less than a year. She had started as a successful, but somewhat lonely CEO, trusting the wrong people and making decisions based only on numbers and profits. Now she had a life partner who challenged her to be better, a company that operated on solid ethical principles, and a purpose that went beyond simply making money. You know what my father told me before he died? Olivia said, as they climbed the stairs. What? That true success isn't measured in dollars, but in the lives you touch positively. He was a wise man. He was. And I think he'd be proud of what we've built. Our company or our relationship? Both. That night, as they fell asleep on the sofa watching a movie, Olivia realized that, for the first time in her adult life, she felt completely whole. Not just as a businesswoman, but as a woman, as a partner, as a person. The ring on her finger glittered slightly in the TV light, reminding her that sometimes the best things in life come in the most unexpected ways. Sometimes, a whisper at the right moment can change everything. And sometimes, love arrives disguised as a night security guard, with a heart of gold and the courage to make things right. Epilogue. The Legacy of Love. 2 years later, the main ballroom of the Fairmont Olympic Hotel in Seattle was decorated with yellow and white flowers, the colors Olivia had chosen for her wedding. It was March 15, 2027, exactly 2 years after Noah had first whispered to her not to sign the $3 billion contract. Olivia looked at herself in the mirror of the bridal suite. Her dress was simple but elegant, designed by a local Seattle seamstress. At 34, she felt more secure and happier than she had ever imagined possible. "Ready, my dear?" her mother, Sophia Rodriguez, asked, adjusting her veil. "More than ready." Over the past 2 years, many things had changed. Sterling Tech had expanded to 3 new states, always maintaining the ethical principles Olivia and Noah had implemented. Noah had opened the Seattle office of Ethan's law firm, specializing in protecting family businesses from corporate fraud. Julian had been sentenced to 8 years in prison for fraud and embezzlement. Global Dynamics. Holdings had been completely dismantled, and 17 of its executives were serving sentences in different countries across North America. But the most important thing for Olivia was that she had found her balance between professional success and personal happiness. "It's time," announced Mr. Davies, who would walk her down the aisle in representation of her late father. The music began to play, and Olivia stepped out of the suite. The hallway to the main ballroom was filled with her company employees, family, friends, and something that particularly moved her: representatives from the families who had been helped through Noah's work. The Millers from Austin, Texas, were in the 3rd row with their youngest son, carrying the rings. The Chengs from Vancouver, Canada, had brought special coffee from their rebuilt farm for the reception. There were families from California, Oregon, and Washington, all who had managed to rebuild their lives after the destruction caused by Global Dynamics Holdings. But when Olivia saw Noah waiting for her at the altar, dressed in a navy blue suit that highlighted his dark eyes, everything else vanished. At 37, Noah had matured in these 2 years of their relationship. There were laugh lines around his eyes that weren't there when they first met, and a quiet confidence that came from having found his place in the world. "You're beautiful," he whispered as she reached the altar. "You don't look so bad yourself," she replied with a smile. The ceremony was officiated by Father Michael, the same priest who had baptized Olivia in Austin 34 years prior. He had traveled specially for the occasion. "Noah, do you promise to love and protect Olivia, in richness and in poverty, in sickness and in health, all the days of your life?" "I promise to love her, to protect her, to challenge her to be better, and to build with her a future full of honesty and purpose." "Olivia, do you promise to love and protect Noah, in richness and in poverty, in sickness and in health, all the days of your life?" "I promise to love him, to respect him, to support his dreams, and to build with him a legacy that honors our families and helps others." When they kissed as husband and wife, applause filled the ballroom. But amidst all the sounds of celebration, Olivia could have sworn she heard her father's voice whispering, "Well done, my girl." The reception extended late into the night. There were emotional speeches, traditional dances from different countries represented among the guests, and plenty of homemade food prepared by the families who had come to celebrate. Ethan Vance, now a full partner in his expanded law firm, gave a special toast. 3 years ago, Noah was a man destroyed by injustice, seeking revenge. Today, he is a man who has found something more powerful than revenge: love and purpose. Olivia and Noah have taught us that true success is not in destroying our enemies, but in building something better than what they destroyed. Later that night, when most of the guests had left, Olivia and Noah found themselves alone on the hotel terrace, looking out at the Puget Sound under the full moon. "What are you thinking about?" Noah asked, taking off his tie and relaxing for the first time all day. "How strange destiny is. If Julian hadn't tried to scam me, we would never have met. Do you regret anything?" "What? Trusting Julian for so many years? Almost signing that contract?" Olivia considered the question. "No, because all of that brought me here, to you, to the life we have now." "And what kind of life is that?" "A life where we're going to work together every day, where we're going to travel across North America helping families like yours, where we're going to build something that matters more than money." Noah hugged her from behind, and both looked out at the ocean. "Do you know what I like most about us?" he said. "What?" "That we started with a whisper and ended up changing the world. Well, maybe not the whole world. The world of many families. That counts." Olivia leaned back against Noah's chest. In her hands, she held a bouquet of yellow flowers, the same color as the blazer he had worn the day they met. "What's next now?" "Now we go to Portland for our honeymoon. You'll get to see the place where my father grew up, where I learned that honest work is the foundation of everything good in life." "And after Portland?" "After Portland, we return to Seattle and keep building. The company, the law firm, maybe a family." Olivia turned in his arms. "A family? If you want. I'd like to have children who grow up knowing that their parents fought for something bigger than themselves. I like that idea." "Yes?" "Yes. But first, I want to finish the expansion to Colorado and Arizona. I want to make sure our company is solid before adding more responsibilities." Noah laughed. "Only my wife would think about business plans on our wedding night. It's one of the reasons I love you. One of many." As they walked back to their suite, Olivia thought about the small museum they had created in the basement of Sterling Tower. Where the maintenance office had once been, where they first met, there was now an exhibit on the importance of business ethics and civic courage. The centerpiece of the museum was a photo of Noah in his security uniform, next to a plaque that read, "Sometimes heroes come disguised as ordinary people doing extraordinary work." Next to it was another photo, Olivia on the day she canceled the contract with Global Dynamics Holdings, with a plaque that read, "True leadership is choosing what's right over what's easy." But the piece Olivia liked most was a small corner where they had recreated exactly how the maintenance office looked the night they met. The small table, the scattered documents, the plastic chairs, and an audio recording that any visitor could listen to. It was the recording of Noah whispering, "Don't sign that deal." 5 words that had changed 2 lives, saved a company, protected dozens of families, and proved that sometimes love arrives at the exact right moment, when you need it most, from the person you least expect, with the words you most need to hear. Now, 2 years later, as Olivia and Noah officially began their lives as husband and wife, they knew their story was just the beginning of something bigger. Tomorrow, there would be more companies to protect, more families to help, more injustices to combat. But tonight, on a terrace overlooking the Puget Sound, all that mattered was that they had found something that no scam could steal and no betrayal could destroy. A love built on the solid foundation of honesty, mutual respect, and a shared commitment to making the world a better place. The whisper that had started it all had become a symphony of hope that would resonate in the lives of countless families for years to come. And at the center of all that music were Olivia and Noah, dancing slowly under the stars, knowing they had found not only the love of their lives, but the purpose of their lives, to protect others from experiencing the losses they had known, and to build a legacy of integrity that would honor the memory of all who had fought before them. The perfect ending to a story that had begun with 5 words whispered at the perfect moment. Don't sign that deal, because sometimes the best love stories begin with an act of salvation. What profound impact did Noah's warning have on Olivia's life and the lives of so many others? Share your reflections in the comments below. If you found this tale inspiring, remember to like and subscribe to our channel for more stories that remind us of the power of integrity.